Every Monday morning, millions of us put on invisible masks, celebrating 0.5% efficiency gains like we just landed on the moon, saying let's take this offline when we really mean please stop talking, clapping at announcements while secretly counting hours until Friday. It's not the work that's killing us, it's the exhaustion of faking excitement about it. Welcome to the quiet crisis no one's talking about, the emotional labor of pretending your job matters. There is a script running underneath the modern work, and we all know the lines. I'm so excited about this initiative. This company's mission really speaks to me. I'm passionate about driving synergetic outcomes in the enterprise space. Sounds ridiculous when you isolate it, right? But in the office, we say these things with straight faces every day, because not performing enthusiasm isn't an option. A friend once told me this story. Their team was tasked with reigniting excitement around company values after a survey showed no one actually believed in them. In the kickoff meeting, the VP said, "We need everyone to really embody these values. They should guide every decision we make." My friend looked around the Zoom grid, 20 blank faces. Everyone thinking the same thing. These values were written by consultants 4 years ago. Nobody uses them. But of course, no one said that. Instead, they spent 6 weeks making posters, Slack channels, and recognition programs for values nobody cared about. The performance wasn't part of the job. It was the job. This performance culture extends everywhere. It's in every optional happy hour that isn't really optional. It's in the pressure to share personal stories during team building activities. It's in the unwritten rule that your LinkedIn bio must scream passion and purpose. The more meaningless the work, the more enthusiasm you have to manufacture. If you're saving lives, purpose is self-evident. But if you're a growth hacker or a scrum master, no offense to you guys, or managing the supply chain for plastic widgets, ouch, this one really hurt me. You need a full-on Broadway production to convince yourself and others that it really matters. It's not that our jobs are completely meaningless. Most contribute something valuable. The problem is the widening gap between the actual value of our work and the emotional investment we are expected to display for it. And here's the tragedy. When you're forced to pretend meaningless things matter, you lose touch with what actually does. And it wasn't always like this. For most of 20th century, work was simple, even boringly honest. You gave your time and effort in exchange for stability. You didn't have to believe in your job to do it well. The deal was transactional. They paid you, you delivered. No one expected the factory worker in Japan or the civil servant in Turkey or the shoekeeper in Italy to say they were really passionate about their industry. You weren't meant to find yourself through work. You worked to build a life outside of it. And that clarity kept people sane. But somewhere between the late 70s and the early 20s, the deal quietly changed. Globalization and deregulation transformed economies. Stable jobs disappeared. Unions weakened. Wages froze while productivity soared. And corporations, especially those born in the US and Silicon Valley, began exporting a new ideology of work across the world. Instead of giving people economic security, companies started selling emotional meaning.
Spider-Man in the cafeteria, racing toy cars in the middle of the office.
Welcome to the zoo.
First of all, you got to get on it, right? You have to grind. You have to get on it.
Employees are there to work, but the company doesn't want them to feel that way.
You weren't just an employee anymore. You were a mission-driven team member. Your company wasn't just making products. It was changing the world. This corporate spiritual language spread faster than any religion. And many of us, raised in an era where traditional sources of identity, religion, community, extended family were weakening. So we found ourselves filling that void with work. We started looking to companies for purpose, belonging, even moral direction. And they were more than happy to provide it as long as it served their quarterly reports. They took away our stability and sold us purpose instead. And that's how we ended up here, in what I call the theater of work. Because the modern work isn't about producing results anymore. It's about performing belief. Think about how many meetings you sat in. Nothing gets decided, but everyone gets to speak. The same information is shared that could have been an email. The real purpose usually is to make someone feel important. Then there is the digital performance. Crafting emails with the right tone of enthusiasm. Posting in Slack to signal engagement. Creating PowerPoints about work instead of actually doing the work. Keeping your green dot active like it's a badge of honor. I once spent 3 weeks making a strategic roadmap, basically reformatting existing information into prettier slides. I mean, the content was forgettable, but my performance, the way I incorporated feedback, the way I managed the stakeholders, the way I presented it with such conviction, it was praised as exceptional leadership. And that's the theater. The applause isn't for the work, it's for the acting. And this isn't just annoying, it's psychologically devastating. Humans can handle hard work when it's honest, but when you must pretend that hardship is a blessing and meaninglessness is purpose, and your exploitation is your opportunity, that's when something breaks inside. And it shows up in 3 ways. First, emotional exhaustion. After a day of performing enthusiasm for spreadsheets, you collapse into Netflix instead of working on your passion projects. Second, identity crisis. When your professional self is built on performance, who are you when the act ends? Moral injury. When you're forced to say things you don't believe, like this layoff is a strategic realignment, a small part of your integrity dies. When you first voice your disillusionment, people often say, just treat it like a job. Clock in and clock out. But that's the thing, you can't. In the modern corporate work, detachment equals disloyalty. To advance, you must perform care. To stay employed, you must demonstrate alignment. And if you don't, someone more willing to pretend will replace you. This isn't just personal burnout, it's a system of 2 contradictory stories we have been sold. In narrative 1, work should be fulfilling, purpose-driven, and aligned with your authentic self. And the narrative 2 is companies exist to maximize shareholder value, and workers are interchangeable costs to be minimized. Logic says these cannot be both true at the same time. Yet we are asked to act like both are true. The result? 59% of employees worldwide are not engaged at their work. 84% of millennials have experienced burnout at their current job. And companies treat workers like family until, of course, the next round of layoffs. Meanwhile, the core economic bargain keeps decaying. Housing became unaffordable, healthcare is still chained to employment. And AI threatens the very core of corporate middle class. So now we are told to be agile, entrepreneurial, purpose-driven, when we were raised by and still live inside institutions designed for obedience. We all work so hard to win the stable career game, and suddenly they changed all the rules overnight. This economic pressure keeps us in our jobs, while the cultural pressure forces us to pretend that those jobs are our calling. This isn't just a career crisis, it's a civilizational one. A massive shift in how we define value, purpose, and identity. What if the end of performance is the beginning of honesty? Because the moment you say, this is performance, not purpose, something powerful happens. You reclaim your agency. You remember that your job is not your identity, your value isn't tied to a LinkedIn headline, and meaning was never something a corporation could give you. The future of work won't be about pretending to love your job. It will be about honest transactions, fair pay for real contribution. It will be people choosing honesty over pretending, and finding meaning not in company mission statements but in life itself. Maybe we can't bring back the security of previous generations, but we can bring back at least their clarity. You don't hate your job, you hate pretending it matters. And that's the first honest step towards a better way to live and work.